I'm here with my friend Josh Hogancamp for our College 101 webinar.
Hey,
Josh,
Greg.
thank you so much for being a part of the thing tonight.
Of course, I'm glad I could be here. Glad I could talk with you, and glad I could share with the EGC family too.
Yeah. Josh and I were just talking about everybody about why we're doing this thing, why we're connecting, why we're
Yeah,
recording this, and hopefully getting it out to a whole bunch of people because college debt is a real thing and it's a real problem. And that's what Josh's career is all about here at CA Plus. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about tonight, Josh?
yeah. I mean, it comes down to one big number, and that's $1.6 trillion, and that is the. We're going to talk about this again in a couple minutes, but that's the student debt in America right now. About 15 or 16 years ago, it was only 200 billion. Now, 200 billion is a lot of money. Yes, that's
Only.
true. But it's multiplied by 8 times over the last 15 to 16 years. That's insane. And it's a huge issue in so many people's lives. I mean, it's big enough that it's getting into the presidential conversation for who's going to be elected president. So no matter what your view on the topic is, people are talking about it's affecting a whole generation. If you look at, there's a lot of, and I'm Greg, I'm sure you know this, millennials for a couple different reasons, but one of the big reasons is student debt. They're getting married later. They're buying houses later. They're starting families later. All these different issues are tied to student debt.
Yep.
Because people have 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000 of student debt and nobody's even blinking an eye at it. And it's a huge issue that has to stop and it has to be addressed.
Yeah, really good. I know looking ahead, my oldest, Gabe, is a sophomore in high school. And so thinking, okay,
Yeah.
3 years from now, I'm looking at, okay, how much is this going to be for his college education? And so
Yeah.
I want to get prepared better than I am. And so I'm really excited to hear your presentation, hear what you have to share, and hopefully it'll impact my family and a bunch of families.
Absolutely.
So take
Well,
it away.
great. Let me jump in. I'm going to share my screen and we can dive in. As Greg said, my name is Josh Hogancamp. I work for College Assistance Plus. We're a local business out of Honey Falls, right on Main Street. I can actually see Flaherty's from here. So anybody who's gone to Flaherty's and had their, I'm a fan of their Reuben. It's delicious. But we're a local business, and we've been helping families here locally in New York and in this area, but also nationwide also. And we're going to be talking about college finances, strategies to help you control the cost, because it's a major cost. It's a major issue. Let's share this. Okay. So College Assistance Plus was established in 2004. And our goal is to help families and students find the right college for the right price. It was started because our owner and founder, Paul Selich, he was invited onto a local board of a college right around 1999 or 2000. And the first meeting he was at, they were talking about putting in a $900,000 pool. Now, I'd love to be in a $900,000 pool, but I mean, when I'm thinking about colleges and boards, I'm not thinking about pools. I'm thinking about classes and labs and what students are learning. And so Paul went up to the president and said, well, why are we talking about a $900,000 pool? Like, that seems like not the right topic. He said, well, this college has it, and this college has it, and this local college has it. So if we don't put in a nice big pool, we're going to lose students because we're not keeping up with the Joneses. And he was just like, and I'm sure, Greg, I saw your face too. That's crazy. I'm thinking about tuition and education and preparing for life. And my tuition is covering a $900,000 pool because why? What? And so he walked out of that meeting, and over the next few years, like I said, in 2004, started College Assistance Plus. Yeah. And since then, we've helped thousands of young adults find the right school for the right price. This is my lovely family, by the way. My wife, Kelsey, and our 3 kids, Levi, Miles, and Nora. We live actually in Lima, and we serve with Campus Target for 10 years. And then just last year is when I joined College Assistance Plus. But student debt is a real issue for me because for 6 years when I was working with with Campus Target, I looked through hundreds of applications of people who wanted to do missions. Mm-hmm. And any number under 40,000 of student debt, I was like giving them a high five.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy, right? 40,000. I mean, that's not a small amount of money. And
Right.
I regularly saw people with 60 or $70,000 in debt. There was one girl who wanted to join us for a year overseas. And if you don't know Campus Target, they do missions work and evangelism and church planning in Asia. So she wanted to go over even for just 9 months. Well,
Mhm.
she had just graduated from Elmira, which is down in Elmira, Elmira University, um, and she had studied social work. She wanted to be a social worker, and social workers don't make that much money, probably $35,000 or $40,000 to start, and average, maybe $45,000 or $50,000 eventually.
Mhm.
Um, and we were talking about her application, and she had a really sad story. Actually, her dad died when she was younger. Her mom got remarried. Her mom actually passed away while she was in college, and she was walking out of school with over $100,000 of student debt to study to be a social worker. That's insane.
Wow.
She has a house payment almost, and all she has is a degree in social work. That's craziness. And so I really care deeply about student debt because I realize it wrecks people's lives and it wrecks families. And Greg, we know this. What's one of the leading causes of divorce in America? It's finances and stress over finances.
Yep.
When you're walking to a marriage or a relationship with tens and tens of thousands of student debt, even before you're thinking about starting a house or starting a family, that's major stress. And so this isn't just a few year issue. This is a lifetime issue that we really have to deal with. And part of that is dealing with the problem before it's a problem. So let's jump in. We're going to be talking about how we can reduce college debt and some of the strategies. Here's some of the factors that increase the cost of college. One is emotions rule. Now, Greg, you have small children. I have small children. Your kids are a little less small than mine. But when you're thinking about their future, you want the best for them. Hey, I want them to finish up high school, have great relationships, go to the best college possible, get a great education, go and do what God has for them. You want all their dreams to come true. And so many people have that dream connected with a name of a college. Well, if they can only go to Penn State, if they could only go to the University of Rochester, if they can only go to Harvard or Cornell, or whatever school that they think is the perfect fit, and they detach reality, from reality because of emotions. And parents really underestimate the cost of college. They think back to when they were in college and don't realize how much college costs have increased. They also they don't even have a budget. They know how much they make and they know what comes in and out every month, but they have no idea how much college is going to cost. They don't even know how much they can afford to give their kids to go to college.
Yeah.
We also see students that don't have major career direction. They're just going because that's what they're supposed to do. Greg, I'm sure you have conversations with people. Okay, what is your next step after high school? And I'm guessing some of the answers are, well, I guess I need to go to college.
Mhm.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, obviously, there's some kids that are like, "Oh, I know exactly what I want, where I'm going," and other times they are not sure. But that's the expectation, is that everybody has to go.
Absolutely. And it's a society issue too, right? Hey, if you're successful, you go to high school, then you go to college, then you get a great paying job,
Yeah.
right? And what we've seen is that that hasn't happened. People go to college, wages are stagnated in our country right now.
Yeah.
And so they come out and there's not even jobs. You want to talk about issues before COVID? Let's talk about issues after COVID, where companies are downsizing and who knows what the recession is going to look like. And so we have to pay attention to where we're sending our kids. Um, and also parents are blindly co-signing loans. It's just a little piece of paper that comes with financial aid. Hey, and then parents sign it and they don't realize that these loans are government backed loans that can't be pushed off from bankruptcy or anything. They can take money from, they can deduct it from checks. They can deduct it from your Medicaid, your Social Security. We'll get to that, but don't blindly co-sign loans. That's a big issue. Okay, so strategy. We need to understand the cost of a 4-year degree. Okay, Cornell University, right?
Mhm.
Over $300,000 for 4 years. This is just undergraduate. This isn't like your master's or your PhD. Just for a 4-year undergraduate degree. Okay. RIT just on our doorstep, over $57,000 per year. That's 4-year school for $228,000. You're like, well, I want to go to state school. Okay. Even state schools, SUNY schools are over $100,000 for a school. That's not an insignificant amount of money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. You see at the bottom, the average graduation rate is 5.5 years, and many students are changing their majors over 4 times or more, which again just adds on to the amount of time. And when you're talking about 25, 35, 55, $75,000 a year for school, those mistakes can really add up to a lot of money. Okay, this is something that's really important to us, and we're talking to people. College costs of future income. I shared that story earlier of the young lady who studied to be a social worker and had over $100,000 of student debt.
Yeah.
We suggest that you don't take out more loans than the first year of salary in your job field, in the job that you're going to get. So if you look at the bottom, if you're being a music major, you probably shouldn't be taking out $60,000 of school. You just can't support that. When starting salaries are usually smaller. Teachers are the same way. Social workers are the same way. But engineers, you're going to start at $60 or $65 or $70,000 a year. So you can take out more loans if you so choose. Those end up being manageable debts to pay. Now, depending on your view of debt or your financial situation, you could have different views on what's okay. That's completely fine, and that's great. But just for us, we suggest you don't take out more student loans than your first year of salary. There's all sorts of research that you can do on job growth and starting salaries in fields. But again, so many people take it as an emotional decision, not a financial one. And it's the numbers are too big to not pay attention to the finances.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Test optional is probably a word that you've been hearing even over the last few months. Before COVID, more major schools were becoming test optional. When I say test optional, I mean they don't require an SAT score or an ACT score to apply. Many Ivy League schools have gone test optional. Now that COVID has hit, there's so many people who got their tests delayed or canceled this spring and summer, and now in the fall also. You can take the SAT digitally, but they don't think they're going to be in-person tests until at least next year. So all the SUNY schools are actually test optional for this year and next. Some other interesting points is that this is helpful for those who don't test well, but a great score, if you score a 1400, that's still going to be help you on your application. And if you can get a 4.0 GPA and you have around a 1400 SAT, you're going to get $15,000 to $18,000 of grant money every single year as a merit scholarship. So that's really important to know. Test optional, what that means. One important factor is test optional does not mean test blind. When I say test blind, I mean some schools say they won't even look at tests even if you send them. Where test optional, if you send in your scores, that could help you. But if you don't send in your scores, it's not a requirement anymore, but it could actually hurt your application if you don't send them in. If you go to fairtest.org, you can find a list of schools that have said, we do not look at test scores, even if you send them. So that's really important. That could help save you money, get you a better scholarship, and determine what schools that you're going to go to. Okay, this is the next strategy. We need to understand financial aid a little bit. Two big important abbreviations or acronyms, FAFSA and CSS Profile. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is the main form that people fill out to get financial aid from colleges and federal grants. And then the CSS Profile we'll talk about in a minute. But then there's a few other, we all love our acronyms. EFC, Expected Family Contribution, FSA ID, Federal Student Aid ID, IRS DRT, Data Retrieval Tool. That's basically a connection between the FAFSA and your IRS tax work, tax paperwork. So it makes the process a little easier. And I want to point out these 4 words at the bottom because this is what financial aid actually is. Scholarship, this could be merit scholarship. You get great grades or you have wonderful extracurriculars that could get you money. Athletic scholarships fall under that. Grants, this is also need-based aid. If you're, depending on what your income is, schools will give grants to you, or the federal government or the state government will give you grants. You also have federal loans, which is financial aid. They consider them financial aid, which is kind of funny. Now, Greg, if you went to a car dealership and they said, "Hey, Greg, we're going to give you financial aid. We're going to give you a loan so you can buy this car." What do you think about that? Do you think that's financial aid?
Not so helpful. Because now I'm paying back more for the car.
But Greg, we're going to give you a better rate than normal. So I understand, but
I'll take a better rate, but
it's not free money, right?
Right.
And so one of the issues is that this number, this federal loans, is often buried above the line, right? So whenever I get my financial aid paperwork, I'm looking at the bottom line. How much money am I getting? Oh, I'm getting $65,000, $60,000 a year. Great. But 30,000 of that is actually a loan every single year. It's like, oh, okay. That's kind of an issue. And then work study. Students can also work on campus for financial aid. Now, very clear distinction. Scholarships and grants, free money. We don't have to pay them back. We love that. We love free money. Federal loans and work study, you have to work for the work study, and you've got to pay the federal loans back. So it's important to know these different terms. Okay, know your EFC, expected family contribution. Many families don't understand this, is that every family, unless your AGI is under $25,000, you're expected to pay money towards your students' college every single year. So if I'm making $100,000 a year, I'm expected to pay $17,500 per year as a parent to my students, towards their tuition, towards their costs. If I make less than that or more than that, you can see in the bottom there's a table that outlines what those numbers are. Now, I don't care if you make $200,000 or more. I'm guessing you don't have 20 to 25% of your income every year designated for your child's education. I'm guessing, right? I mean, even if you make 100,000, do you have almost 20? Greg, I don't know how much you make. Do you have 20% of your income that you could just give to a college next year?
I do not.
No, Mel says no. She agrees. No one does.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we're saving for retirement. Hopefully we're putting savings away. Those 6 baby steps. We know the Financial Peace University. It's all good.
Yep.
But not many people are just say, hey, here's 15, 20, 25% of my income every year for the next 4 years. It's just not plausible. And people don't understand what this EFC is. Now this is important. This is not what you're going to pay for college every year. You see this cost of attendance minus the EFC. The EFC is already taken out. Hey, they expect you to put, $25,000 a year or 20, 18 or 15, whatever it is. And then it goes into the student need. So say you want to go to RIT. We know it's $57,000 a year, and you make $100,000 a year. Okay. So that's $17,500 off the top. All right, they are expect you to pay $17,500, and then you still have to make up $40,000 a year. Okay, so maybe they give you some grants, etc. You're still going to have money that you either need to pay for with a loan, or that needs to come out of someone's pocket. So it's really important to know what your EFC is, because that helps you understand the budget that you're going to need to, what they're expecting you to pay. That's going to help you understand the amount of money that needs to happen. Okay, this is an important strategy. Not making mistakes on your FAFSA. Your FAFSA, again, is your federal application for financial student aid. If you make mistakes, it will cost you money. Okay, here's a few common mistakes. I'll talk about these specifically. Number of kids in college. If you don't put the right amount of kids in college, that could affect how much you pay.
Yeah.
If you have one, we'll go back to the last screen talking about EFC. Say you make $100,000 a year. Let's say 150 because it's easier math. You make $150,000 a year, and you have one kid in college. They expect you to pay $32,000 a year. Now, if you have 2 kids in college, they're still expecting you to pay $32,000, but they expect 16 to go to each child.
Yeah.
That means when they're looking at your financial need, they actually see more of a financial need. So you're going to get more need-based aid from those colleges if you put the right amount of kids on your FAFSA account.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's helpful. Retirement accounts, this is important. Any retirement accounts that you have do not go on the FAFSA, whether that's an IRA account, a 401k account, other retirement accounts that you have. Those are not liquid assets. Those are not to be reported on your FAFSA. Other issues, if you own a business that has less than 100 employees and it's a family-owned business, you do not report those assets on your FAFSA. Now, again, that's a serious, if I have 90 employees and I have a $5 million business and I report that, that's going to be a lot of money that I suddenly have to pay, that's not supposed to go on your FAFSA. Another issue is your divorce. It's based, if you're divorced, again, not a great situation. We don't love to see that, but it happens. Life happens sometimes. The FAFSA, the finances of the parent who the student spends 51% of the time with gets reported. So, okay, dad, mom, dad makes less than mom. We want to make sure that the student is spending more days with dad than mom, because they're going to have to report less money on their FAFSA, and they're going to get more aid.
Interesting.
It's just little different things like that, that if we make mistakes on these FAFSAs, it could cost us a lot of money. And it's needed for work study, federal loans, need-based aid from schools.
Yeah.
The government now reports that over 50% of parents make mistakes, resulting in loss of financial aid. We actually have seen that number a little higher than that. But again, half of you listening will make a mistake on FAFSA if you don't have someone expertly review it. So you should probably have someone review it that knows what they're doing. That's important.
Yeah.
CSS profile. There's over 300 schools. Many Ivy League and elite private schools want a CSS profile. Basically, a CSS profile is a digger deep into your finances. They look at the equity of your house. They look at the equity, the money in your retirement account. So if you make a lot of money, the CSS profile is going to get more money out of you. If you don't have a lot of money, it's going to actually help you by giving you more financial aid. So that's really helpful for those of us, if you have less money, a needy family, maybe a single parent family, a CSS profile could be really advantageous for you to get more financial aid. Greg, I've just covered a lot of information. I have a couple more slides. Mm-hmm. Do you have any questions that kind of stick out to you?
So the CSS profile is something that if you're interested in a college, you should Google that college and CSS to find out if they consider that profile.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Fill it out if they do.
Yeah, a CSS profile, I didn't say this clearly, it's another financial aid form that you have to fill out. So there's two main financial aid forms, the FAFSA, which almost everyone fills out.
Yeah.
The only way you don't fill out FAFSA is if you have a lot of money and you're not going to get any need-based aid anyway, you don't fill out the FAFSA. And then over 300 schools want the CSS profile also. U of R is one of them. Cornell is one. All the Ivy Leagues are them. And there's actually, I can send you a link, Greg, that we can kind of maybe include that has those lists of schools. It's a lot of they're very selective schools or Ivy League schools that want the CSS profile.
Okay.
Any other questions about any of the past slides either?
Nope, not at this point.
Great. I know this is a lot of information. We'll have time to answer some questions too. Okay, this is important. Students can only take out up to $31,000 in their own name. You'll see at the bottom, it says $27,000. And then in certain specific situations, they can take out $4,000 more. So that means even if those certain situations happen, anything over $31,000 has to have a cosigner. So that means that if you're a parent, maybe you're signing it, maybe a grandparent is, maybe somebody else, but someone is co-signing for that loan. That means if your student defaults on the loan, which is terrible, but over 1 million people every single year default on their student loans. If they default on their loans and it's over that $31,000 mark, you're paying it.
Mhm.
It's you. If you co-sign that paper, you're responsible. And so that's really important for people to know. Students can only take out up to $31,000 in their name. Everything above that needs to have a cosigner. And then you see the number breakdowns for years there. This is kind of what I was talking about. They can, if you co-sign a loan, if you have a Parent Plus loan, it can affect your retirement. They can garnish your wages. They can take money out of your tax return. Again, these are government-backed loans. This is not a private company. The government can, the government gets what it wants. If you stiff them on your IRS taxes, what they can garnish your wages. They can put you in jail. No, they're not going to put you in jail for this, but they get their money. Okay, mm-hmm. They can take away from your Social Security. So can you imagine that 20 years ago you co-signed for your son or daughter's loan, and then 20 years later your Social Security, which you're hoping to help you get through retirement, is getting garnished or taken away because of these loans.
Wow.
And that's why we're talking about, this is a serious conversation about, don't just sign those financial papers, understand what's going on, make good decisions, because it can affect you. It can literally affect your life as a parent and your students for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
These are not easy, small decisions. I'm assuming you wouldn't let, Greg, would you let your son in 3 years decide what house you're going to buy? Right.
I can have it.
Hey, Gabe, go find us a house. Doesn't matter what it costs. Just go find us a house. Right. It's like no one in their right mind would do that. But that's what we're doing. We're just saying, okay, go find the school that you want. Go talk to your guidance counselor, figure it out, whatever. And people have no idea that these colleges are costing, some anywhere from $25,000 to $75,000 a year. That's insane. We need to understand what's going on, or it's going to be really a big issue for our children and potentially us in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the best strategy. Use an expert to save money. We can help you set a budget before visiting colleges, apply to the right schools, including a leverage school. Something we haven't talked about and something that we do a lot for our clients is we write appeal letters for more financial aid. And we've actually been really successful. Most people don't know this, but the federal government gave almost all colleges extra money to use as financial aid for students. But they're not going to just give it. Hey, we got some more money in the piggy bank. We decided just to give some money to all our students. No. That's not how it works. But if you write appeals to them, you can get more financial aid. We've had tons of success. We've written in the last couple of months. We've written somewhere in the over 30 appeal letters, and literally have gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars of financial aid to help.
Wow.
These are not small peanuts. We had, anywhere from $3,500 a year to we had an appeal go in because of some family situations, and they got, I think it was $29,000 a year. Now that's on the large end. Most of them are, anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000. But hey, Greg, if I gave you $7,000 more a year for the next 4 years, would you appreciate that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're good with that. We understand.
Yes.
And so we have different strategies to make sure we have a great appeal strategy. Obviously understanding your financial aid formula and what that's going to look like, understanding the difference of loans. These are really important things that are really detailed. And that's why it's helpful to have people who are experts. Mm-hmm. Another thing, and we'll talk about this a little later, many seniors right now are going into their English classes and writing their application essay for school. Now, I think teachers are amazing, but teachers are not, English teachers in high school are not trained to write great application essays. It's just not. That's not their background. And so they can be helpful in writing great grammar, or having great grammar, which I seem to not have. but we have a staff writer that walks with our clients to brainstorm great topics for the application essay and to review and critique their essays. We didn't talk about this before, but getting a great financial strategy is to have an amazing application. Getting a 4.0 at school, if those who can do it, do it. That looks awesome. right? Taking AP classes and getting 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 on those AP tests, that stands out on your transcript. Writing an amazing application essay, that stands out. If you can do great in your SAT or ACT, that stands out. I talked about before, if you can get a 1400 or so, 1350, 1400 in your SAT and have a 3.9 or a 4.0 GPA, we're talking about $15,000 to $18,000 a year easy from almost every school. And that's worth it. That's a lot of coin. I mean, we're talking about almost $70,000 right there.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. And going back with more schools being test optional, your college essay, your college application essay is even more important because you have one less piece of information. So those other pieces are even more important. Okay, so you're listening to me, Greg, and those of you watching this recording, and you might be saying, okay, I'm a little confused. Like, I had no idea, one, that school was so much, or how much school costs, or where do I begin? Maybe you're worried that you don't have the money. Maybe you're just unsure of the next steps. Where do I even start in all this? My son is a sophomore, or maybe they're a junior or a senior. You might be thinking, hey, is it too late? Have I missed the bus? Can my student even go to college next year? Will I be able to afford college? Will they be saddled with student debt for the rest of your life? Will I have to co-sign a loan and lose my Social Security? Like, there's a lot of different thoughts that you might be feeling and going through. So you also might be thinking, what about guidance counselors? They have them at the high schools. They're supposed to help. Well, here's some things. This is a national ratio. There's 482 students to one guidance counselor in every high school. And then high school guidance counselors typically need their master's degrees, but rarely receive college planning training. So basically, you're just going off the experience of them. And who knows if they have student debt or what their financial life looks like, or they made good decisions, right? So high school counselors are not necessarily trained to help you find the right school. And also, they can't talk about their money. They can't say, hey, give me your IRS forms. Let's figure out your EFC, and let's look in the database to see what schools give great financial aid based on your income level. They can't do it. And so there's a lot of great guidance counselors out there. There's a lot. I love teachers. I love guidance counselors. They're amazing, but they're not prepared and they're not ready to fill this hole. Mm-hmm. One thing that you'll hear a lot, well, find the best school that you can get into and go there. Okay, if the best school I can get into is $75,000 a year, and the only aid I get is a couple tens of thousands, I need to pay $50,000 a year to go to that school. Is that a good decision? Is it worth $200,000 to go to that school? That's a serious conversation. Yeah. And so unless we're bringing finances into the conversation, we can't make good decisions about what the best next step is for our kids' college and university career. So, and the sooner that you open the black box of college admissions and financial aid, the more time that you'll have to make these great decisions. So if you have a son or daughter who is a sophomore, hey, start understanding more. If they have a junior, hey, we need to start getting that process now. If you have a senior, hey, it's really time to start. I just started working with a few senior clients in the last couple of weeks, and we're cooking. We've got lots of things to do. We've got lots of things to take care of. If you're a junior, it is prime time to start this process so it's not rushed. Knowledge and help, expert help, will greatly reduce the stress and that you and your child are experiencing. We've helped thousands of families over the years. We know great schools. We know great financial aid packages. We know great schools that give great financial aid packages, and we could help you. So I have 3 specific options. Okay, this isn't just hey, call me if you have any questions. There's 3 different options that you can take. One is our senior starter package. I affectionately named this the "Oh crap" package. Hey, they're starting their senior year at high school, and you're like, oh crap, they've got to go to school next year. Okay, and so what this includes is includes a career and major exploration. So we take a few assessments and talk about career options and what majors they could get involved in. Right, that's important because whatever career or industry you're going in helps us understand maybe the potential loans that you're going to take on. Don't go to school undecided. That is a bad way. That's a bad way to go to school for 5.5 years for a 4-year degree, or to switch your majors multiple times.
Mhm.
Get those conversations out of the way. Figure out what you want to go to school for. Now, if you have to switch once or twice, not the end of the world. If I want to go from being a civil engineer to an electrical engineer, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. But if I go from being a teacher to a bio, pre-med, to law, to engineer, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of classes I don't need in each of those different sections. You're going to be one of those 7-year seniors, and that's not a great situation for you to be in. So our career and major exploration package, our common application review, that's something. A common application is many schools in the country. There's over 4,000 colleges. Most of them take the common application, which is basically a common application that they all take. And then some of them have a couple questions or essay questions after that. Our common app essay course, it's digital. It also can include connections with our staff writer. And then 2 hours of our one-on-one consultant time. This is amazing value for what, like I said, you saving money on picking the right career could save you tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Writing a great common app essay can gain you tons of financial aid. And that package is only $499. And so again, a great value. And that kind of gets you, it takes you from, oh crap, to understanding the next steps of what you need to do over the next few months to decide the right major, and then have great application and essay, and get some one-on-one help with our team of consultants. So $499. The next thing I'm really excited about, we're launching our next cohort this next month in September. This is our junior year pathway to college membership. And this is what this includes. It's 2 1-hour group calls per month, 2 hours of one-on-one consultant time per month. And this really helps you through each step of the process as it comes along. And so we've actually been able to lower the price of this because we're doing group calls. So it's not all one-on-one, and there's some constrictions of how much consultant time that you have. And so we're able to price this really competitively. And I think you'll see it's a fantastic value. But, you'll be with other juniors that are walking through the same steps that you're walking through right now. And so from now until from September 2020 through August 2021 this is when that cohort's running. And we're going to go through every step of the way. So talking about financial aid, talking about your majors in your career. We'll do different assessments. We'll review common apps. We'll do all the same things that we normally do, but it's a little slower pace, and there's a few more constraints. And that's only $100 per month. You can also stop at any time. And so every month we have different topics and goals for you to accomplish. And so however long that you want to go, right now we're going to be talking about the basics of financial aid and what that looks like. May and June next year, when you're a senior, we're going to be talking about appeals and writing appeals. And so every part of the year, every part of the seasons, we're going to be talking about different topics. And so I'm really excited about that. I think it's a really affordable way for you to get all the college information you need as you go through the process. And then the last one is our full service package. This is
Before you go on to the full service package, can you just comment, because you just mentioned this word appeals. What do you mean by appeals?
Yeah, great. I talked about this a little bit before. An appeal is a letter written to a college for more financial aid.
Right. And after they give you their decision, then you go back and say, wait a minute, I want you to reconsider this aspect of my application.
Exactly. And so in the fall of your senior year, you'll apply to 8 to 12 schools. That's our suggestion. And then right around January, February, you'll start getting financial aid awards in the mail. Mm-hmm. So, hey, school A wants to give you this much money. School B wants to give you this much money. School C, everybody who admitted you will give you a financial aid award. And we go in and say, okay, what schools are competing against each other? If I'm going in, I love the car analogy because it just fits so well. If I'm looking at a new car and I'm going to a Toyota dealer or an Lexus dealer, those don't really make sense. And they're not comparable cars. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm going to a BMW and a Mercedes dealer, I can say, hey, Mercedes just gave me this offer. What are you going to do, BMW? Do you want my business?
Right.
So you might be going in between two comparable schools, and we offer our advice on what schools to apply to, so we can get the BMWs and the Mercedes to bid against each other,
Yeah.
and then the Toyotas and the GMs to bid against each other, right?
Yeah.
And hey, Mitsubishi and Toyota, do you guys want my business? Who's going to give me a better deal? And so we help people decide on what schools they should apply to, and then we'll help them write letters to those different schools to get a great package. And so again, that could be anywhere from a couple $1,000 to $10,000 to $15,000, depending on the schools and what those financial aid packages. We've written thousands of those over the years and seen great success, especially now in COVID. Schools are hurting financially, and so they want more students.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, well, if the schools are hurting financially, well, they're not going to give out more financially. No. They actually they want more students in their seats, because if students aren't there, they don't get money from those students.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get federal aid, the federal aid money. They don't get all the student loans coming in from them. So they'll give an extra $5,000 if it means that you're going to be attending there in the fall. And so that could be really detrimental to some smaller or medium-sized school in the coming future, because they're giving, they're passing out too many 2-for-1 specials out here, too many 50% off. But right now is an amazing time to be writing appeals and appealing for more money. This is kind of more in the weeds, but there was a decision made last year by Congress. It was either Congress or the Supreme Court that basically took out a lot of rules for colleges pursuing students that have already committed to schools. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me give you an analogy. May 1st used to be the decision date. And when I say analogy, I mean like it's kind of the engagement ring. Yep. May 1st is like, yes, I do. I'll marry you eventually. We'll get married. And then September is when you go to, that's when you get married, right? That's the date. So May 1st was the date that people committed to schools. It used to be once they commit, other schools can't pursue those students. Well, now they can. So they can actually, you can be sitting in school in 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now, and another school can actually go to you and say, hey, we'll give you a better financial aid package if you transfer to our school right now. And that's okay. And that's an accepted practice and what schools are doing now. And so it's an amazing time to be writing appeal letters and to appealing for more financial aid. Some people feel like that's a little strange, but it's only the people that think college is a public service and not a business. Mm-hmm. Colleges are businesses. They want your money. They want as much of it as they can get. Yeah. Now there's many, that's not every college, and many teachers and admin people really want to help students, but colleges are businesses. Universities are businesses. They want students. They want money from you. They're not a charity. And so we need to go in as good consumers and smart consumers to get the best product possible for the least amount of cost possible. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a long-winded answer to what you said as appeals.
Great. That's great information. Yeah.
There's more money out there than people realize. We just need to be willing to write those appeal letters and really ask for it and fight for it. Yep. For really our children's future. Again, if I can save $5,000 a year, that's $20,000 over 4 years. That's a lot of coin.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money that we can save our students and ourselves.
That's great.
So again, that's the junior year pathway to college. And then this is our full service package. This is the Ritz-Carlton of it. I love the movie Home Alone 2, maybe my favorite Christmas movie of all time. Mm-hmm. And I've been joking with my kids recently when Kevin McAllister walks out to the limo in New York, and he says, I think it's Rob Snyder's the actor. He says, Mr. McAllister, your very own cheese pizza. This is your very own cheese pizza package. Everything, we walk through every step of the process with you. Career and major exploration, your college search, finding 15 to 25 schools that will be great fits for you in your major, an online college planner with to-dos, essay course and a review by our writer, FAFSA review. Remember, over 50% of people make mistakes on their FAFSA that cost us money. Your CSS profile review, an appeal strategy and a written appeal for you. We have a financial specialist and a loan specialist on staff that'll work with you on budgets and loans. Every single, that's not all. That's not all, Jim. Financial aid package explanation, what it actually looks like. I mean, these financial aids comes in like 20 pages sometimes. What are we actually looking at? We do interview preparation. We do something called an early college cost estimator. We have all our financial aid packages that our students have received. And so if you tell me your major, what schools you're looking at, your GPA and your SAT score, I can go in and give you an early cost estimator of how much merit scholarship and need-based aid that you're going to get, even before we start even looking at the school seriously. So this is your, one-on-one working with you and your family through the whole process. And so this is our full concierge package. These can get really expensive. Doing some research, these can cost anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000, depending on the country or the company and where it's located. There's some schools and companies in, say, New York City. I know for a fact that they charge $11,000 for this very same package. For us, we price it at a very affordable $3,150. And all of these costs, we also offer free ACH. So if you want to pay over 12 to 18 months, free, no charge, fantastic, no extra fees, no anything. We can set that up for you. And so, so like I said, we have the senior package, which is perfect for those of you jumping into your senior year and you haven't started working on college at all. It's a great first step. That's $499. Our junior year pathway to college membership starts next month, and it walks as a group. And there's also 2 hours of one-on-one consultant time every month. That's $100 a month. And again, you can stop anytime. And then our full service package, which is your very own cheese pizza package for $3,150. And then here's my contact information, josh.ca+@gmail.com. That's actually not my phone number. I'll give you my phone number right now, though. It's 585. I'm going to change this right now because that's kind of important. 585-285-9748. That's my number right there. Feel free to call me. Feel free to email me. And then College Assistance Plus is our website. And if you want this slideshow, obviously you're going to get this recording. You have this recording. You can see it. If you want this slideshow, just feel free to email me, and I'd love to get it to you also. We also offer free 15-minute consultation calls. You might be saying, "Hey, Greg, I don't even know, Josh, I don't even know where to start. Do I really need something like this?" We offer free consultation calls just to say, okay, where are you at in the process? What is your next step? Are there ways that we can help you?
Great. A couple questions for you that popped to my mind as you're running.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned for the junior pathway package that it is $100 a month. You get 2 hours of one-on-one consultation time, but you didn't mention how much time you get with a consultant with the full service package. Is that like how much time would you get with that one?
Basically unlimited. We walk through you every part of the process, from your college search to your financial aid. We walk through every single step of the way, one-on-one with you and your parents. If your parents, we walk with you with your student. So as much time as you need, that's how much time we give you. Now, that often doesn't turn out, that's not hundreds and hundreds of hours. That's not usually what's needed, but it's, hey, if you have a conversation, you have a question, email us, we're going to get right back to you. Yeah. Where like I said, the junior pathway has a few more constraints, but to be honest, most families, 2 hours a month of one-on-one time, and the 1 hour, 2 1 hour calls every month is more than they need to walk through the process. So it's only if, there's certain times where students have special, not just special needs, but special requests, or there's unique situations where there's a lot of time needed. That happens sometimes. And so that full service package is really helpful and really beneficial. But like I said, for the average person, the junior pathway to college is perfect. fulfills all their needs and gets them exactly where they need to be going as they're deciding what schools to go to.
Okay. My next question is, I have 4 children. So using me as an example, how does the cost stay the same for every child, or is there some sort of deal for a multi-child family?
That's a great question. With the junior year, that's not going to drop as much. Depending on how old your kids are, we can talk about specific prices. We do give discounts, but our full service package, we actually give some significant discounts to multiple children families. I won't talk about specifics because there's some changes that happen depending on the situation. But here's the thing: is if you go through our full service package with your first kid, you're probably not going to need as many conversations with kid number 2. And with kid number 3, you're probably not going to need as many conversations. You're not going to need necessarily a faster review.
Yeah.
And so we understand that, and we give discounts accordingly.
Okay.
And so by the time you get to the third or the fourth kid, you're talking about anywhere from a 30 to 40% discount on signing up.
Okay.
Usually what we do is the summer before their junior year, we lock in that price. If you say, hey, I don't want to sign my, because right now, how old are your kids, Greg?
15, 13, 11, and 5.
I'm not going to sign your 5-year-old up to be like, hey, in 13 years, we'll be helping. That's crazy. We understand that. But what we'll do is we'll walk in, say you want to sign up. We'll walk through specific prices. Hey, the junior, it's crazy to think of when your 5-year-old goes into their junior year of college or junior year of high school, if we'll lock that price into then. Obviously, if you go past that deadline, we'll have to charge a full price. But we realize that, if you as a customer are supporting us and being, it's customer loyalty, man. We want to take care of you and your family and do what we need to do. That's why we do the ACH note at no fees or no cost. It's just like, we're still getting the full cost. Why should we,
milk it for more
for our customers? We want to help customers. That's why we're in this business. Yeah. That's why we charge what we do, because we want to help as many people as possible. And, and that's why I'm in this business too, Greg. I've seen way too many people's lives destroyed by debt and destroyed by going to the wrong college. Mm-hmm. And we want to change people's lives. We want to change families' destinies. And we want to change communities. And that's, I'm not underselling it. These decisions affect the next 50 years of kids' lives. And we want to make sure that they're starting out on the right foot with the right college for the right price. It's going to change people's destinies. It's going to change families' lives.
Yeah, seriously, the freedom that comes when you're not buried in a amount. What you said at the beginning really stuck with me, that when you were working with Campus Target, that when you talked to a student who had less than 40 grand, you applauded them.
And that's insane, right? That's $40,000 a day. That's here. Hold on one second. I'm going to get something that's really helpful.
Okay.
I should have had this with me, but I didn't. Okay. So this is just paying the minimum. How much does your student debt really cost? So say it's $35,000. Okay. I just made this slide. That's about the average is about $36,000. That means you're paying $372 per month for the next 10 years. That means your total debt is actually about $45,000, and you're paying about $9,600 of interest on top. And that's just for 35. Now let's be a little aggressive. Okay. Let's be a little crazy. Let's say it's $80,000 of debt. That's $850 a month for the next 10 years. That's goes from $80,000 to $102,000 that the total paying off. That's $22,000. Now, Greg, what could you do with $850 a month? A lot, right?
I could buy a Range Rover.
Yes, you could. And we wonder why people are starting families later, that they're not buying houses until they're in their mid to late 30s, why they're not getting married. It's because of stuff like student debt. Yeah. They're paying $600 a month forever. I was, if you know who Andrew Yang is, he makes this joke. He's just finishing up paying his college debt in the last decade or so. And he said it felt like he was writing his mistress a check every month to a family in another town. Hey, here's $600 a month, It's money that goes, it's hundreds of dollars every single month that's going out the door.
Yeah.
And it just can change people's lives. And so these student debts are serious business, and it's big money.
Yeah.
And it's really, really important to take care of.
Yeah. So depending on the major, the career path, the college that a family wants to go to, spending $3,000 on College Assistance Plus or $100 a month to save thousands over the course of their school career, it's like a no-brainer, right?
And potentially tens of thousands. I mean,
Yeah.
here's a good example. Just a review of your FAFSA. If you put your retirement accounts on there, say you have $500,000 of retirement account or $4,000, the FAFSA review takes 5%. I think it's 5.5% of parental assets are in the EFC. So that means if you put $400,000 extra dollars on your FAFSA, that means 5% of it is going into your expected family contribution. Just that alone, just that mistake not happening alone, pays for our services above and beyond.
Yep. Wow.
So, like we said, there's plenty of companies out there that charge a lot more. We want it to be affordable because we want to help people. That's why we're in this business. That's why we started this thing. Well,
Great.
I didn't start it, but that's why I'm here.
That's great. Well, thank you, Josh.
Absolutely. And like I said, feel free to give me a call. Feel free to email me.
Mm-hmm.
I love to share this PowerPoint with you.
Yeah.
I love to have that 15-minute conversation with you about your specific circumstance with your child or your family. And we've gone for an hour, and I could go for hours more, Greg. I'm sure you understand there's a lot of things involved. There's a lot of dots, points of interest around the journey, and we want to be there for every step of the way.
Well, thank you very much for agreeing to do this, for helping our families. I'm hoping that a ton of people watch this and really learn. I mean, the information you gave in the webinar, and then also the opportunity to potentially also work with CA Plus. Yeah. It's a great thing.
And if one of those options doesn't work for you, again, we're here to help. We're here to serve. Just give us a call and we'll see what we can do. I was just working with a family a couple weeks ago, and we had some creative pricing because we wanted to help them. And so I can't promise anything, but we're here to serve. We're here to help, and we want to work with families. So anything that we can do to help is we're going to try and do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Josh, and everybody watching. Give Josh a call. You have his number. If you didn't see it, rewind the recording, check it out, give him a call, send him an email, and hopefully you'll walk away with a great idea of how to save a whole ton of money with college decisions coming up. So thanks again, Josh. Really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Greg.